Hello and welcome to part 2 of how to play double spoiler. I am Chum, I am double spoiler veteran, so this time I'm going to teach you something that might actually help you. I know the last video was kind of aimless, didn't expect it to quite end up that long, but whatever, it's not, you don't need to watch that video. This is the first one you want to watch if you want to learn how to play double spoiler for real. The other one, skip that one. Not interested. I'm going to talk about controls. Okay, so normally you might think, well, dedicating a whole video to controls, overkill. But in this game, there's actually quite a few things that are hardly immediately obvious that are you do need to know to play. At least if you want to play for score. So Aya and Hatate, quite different, obviously. So I'm going to talk a bit about both of them. Let's start with Aya. They have their own kinds of problems they run into when they're playing. So I'm gonna start with Aya, and I'm gonna start talking about some things that kind of affects both characters. So yeah, obviously you have the free speeds, right? Focused, sharp speed. So take a picture. Now, when you take a picture, that's not taking anything off the boss, then shards you end up with is depending on how many bullets you get into the picture. So I only ended up with 2 now. It's hardly any bullets right now. But take a picture of more bullets, I end up with more shards. Okay, you charge the picture, it shards really fast. Okay, break the charge. Charge really slow, and it's the same speed. If you're just focusing, same speed as the unfocused speed. Sharp speed I'm talking about. And if we charge and we keep breaking the charge, it's actually gonna charge really slow. You don't want to do that. Okay, so try not to do that if you don't need to. Now, next, once we have that's really simple stuff out of the way, which I think anyone is gonna learn once they play through the whole game. Some people might somehow miss the thing about breaking charge, but whatever. Okay, look at what happened. Look at how the crosshair moves now, okay? So when you're moving around unfocused, the crosshair, this is important, crosshair follows you around like this. It doesn't pay any heed to the boss, but if you stay still, oops, I died. Try again. If you stay still, you see, tracks the boss. Now, if you focus, you can see that the charge, the crosshairs, it moves up, it moves closer to the boss, and even if we move around, it keeps tracking the boss, unlike when you're moving around unfocused. This is an important detail to understand, because if you're just moving around like this, and you want to take the picture back, ooh! Now, this is going to be a really crappy picture, because it's like totally bent. You can see that in the angle bonus, but I'm not going to talk about the multipliers and bonuses in this video, other than that you need to know that the angle bonus is going to be affected by taking a picture like that. So how do you overcome this problem? Like this. Tap shift to focus to realign the camera. One tap before you take the picture is enough. That's how you overcome the problem. If you're moving around unfocused, you want to take a picture, make sure to press focus before you take the picture, or charge. You can get the same kind of thing by charging as you do in focusing. Okay. Now, next we're gonna look at the crosshair distance from you to the boss. There's 3 different distances. You have the unfocused distance. That's the one that's closest to Aya and furthest away from the boss. Then you have the charge distance. See that crosshairs are moving up now. It might not seem like much, but this is going to be important. And it does this pretty fast. Then there is the focus distance. See, it takes its time. It's not instant. But the focus is going to move real close to the boss. Now, we're going to be really close to the boss next. So, let's do this. Oops. Okay, one more try. I'm not intending to play this game for to play this scene for square now. I just kind of want to show something. Okay, so here's a little save spot. Now I can be in the save spot and just kind of show how the crosshairs behave. Okay. You can see that I'm too close to the boss, so the crosshairs are actually going ahead of the boss. So when I'm focusing, these crosshairs are below the boss. And when I'm charging, crosshairs are still below the boss. And so you can see that there's like I'm focusing now and I'm charging now, and there's like no difference, right? Because you're so close to the boss. But if I unfocus, it gets even closer. So how do you want to take this picture if you want to get Minorico in the middle of the picture? Well, you could try charging or focusing if you want to, but it's going to require extra precision. Because you have to aim up more, it's going to be a bit more complex. With Hatate, you're definitely forced to unfocus, because I'll discuss why later. But with Aya, definitely like that, unfocus it and just aim up a little bit. So that kind of thing with the crosshairs distance to the boss is a pretty big deal that is going to be important in just about every scene. Next, what happens if we push this button that people almost never use? This button. X. There's not a lot of buttons in double spoiler, but other than focusing, taking a picture, and pressing both to charge, you have this button that changes the alignment of the crosshairs. So, what happens if I take this kind of picture? You see, the alignment is different. It's vertical instead of horizontal. Now, I'm taking horizontal. See the difference? Now, a vertical picture is something that you should try to avoid using. Sometimes you may think that there's no other way. But the reason vertical is so bad is because I'm going to kill myself to show this. Look at the angle bonus. 1.0 multiplier. Now look at the angle bonus here. 1.3 multiplier. You get lower angle bonus multiplier with a vertical shot. And only if the crosshairs themselves are vertically aligned. You can take a shot that looks vertical by aligning it like this. It will look vertical in the bottom left, but it counts as a horizontal picture because the alignment of your camera is horizontal. Now, this is something that is really different from Shoot the Bullet. With Shoot the Bullet, when you take a picture, it always has the same dimensions. It's always horizontally, straight horizontally aligned, like, well, almost like that one. That one was a bit diagonal. However, in double spoiler, you can see the crosshairs. They're gonna show you what kind of dimensions you'll end up with every time. Okay? Crosshairs are gonna tell you the whole story. Now, I just aimed the picture. Now, aiming the picture is something you need to learn to do when you play for score, to some degree. But you shouldn't go overkill with the aiming. Now, when you're playing for survival, you might think, let's do something like that. But the score is gonna be garbage. So that's something you wanna try to avoid doing as much as possible. However, you can aim just the right amount, like when I showed you before on the second picture of this photo. Show it one more time. Okay, charge, go into the save spot. Oops, a little bit too close. Let's try one more time. Oops, a little bit too close again. I actually played this scene not too long ago, just a few weeks, but that save spot is pretty exact. So. Okay. Now, I'll show you this one more time. Now, what am I gonna do? You see the crosshairs are below me, Noriko. So while I start taking the picture, I have to start aiming. You can see that I only aimed a very short amount, but it was just enough to center Noriko. So, why is aiming bad if you do it too much? There's two reasons I would advise against aiming too much. First, let's look at this. So, actually, let's reset and have another look. Okay, now, the crosshairs say 100%. That's the full area covered by the picture. It's 100%. It can't get any bigger, but it can get smaller if you aim. So it's still 100%. I'm starting to aim. It's still 100%. 100%. Now it's down to 95. And now it's going to shrink rapidly. That's what you want to avoid. If you only aim for a tiny little bit, it's not about the distance you move the camera, it's only about the time you spend aiming. It's going to keep shrinking, and that is horrible. You can't do that. Eventually, it disappears. If it disappears, well, tough luck. However, there are times where you might want to, have the picture disappear just to kind of avoid taking a picture because you accidentally started aiming too early. Overkill. Not gonna talk about that. So, the other reason aiming is not good is because look at this picture. Are you in this picture? You're not in this picture. When you take pictures in double spoiler, it's important that you, your character, Aya or Hatate, you are in the picture. That gives you the 2-shot bonus. Alright. So, I'm going to pick a different scene, kind of to show how you control Aya. So on this scene, okay, to pay attention to the crosshairs. Oops. Pay attention to the crosshairs when I go next to the picture up here. Now that's only 1.96. So I was charging, then I was unfocusing, and because I'm so close to Ichirin, unfocusing isn't enough to bring the camera close enough. What do we have to do? You have to aim left. You aim left for only a few frames. It's a very short aim, but it's necessary. Okay, next. Okay, look at this. In order to get Unsan into the picture right now, so I want to get Unsan into the picture, and I want the nice shot, and I want all these lasers. What do I have to do? You might think this. Now, that ended up working because Ichirin was so high on the screen, but it was very close to not working. I actually didn't expect it to work. It ended up working, but normally it is much better. Okay, I'm going to wait for that picture again. Do something like this. Now I mistimed the picture, but you can see I kind of went with an angle instead. And I went with this angle while focusing, because if you're unfocusing, then you're gonna bend the picture like I talked about before. So I was moving up here focused, not unfocused, focused. And you can try to charge before you take the picture if you want. If you feel like you're really close to Ichirin, charging bring your crosshairs closer to you. But I was focusing, so what happens when I'm focusing? That means I want to aim the picture back, so I did that too. So I was focusing to move up here, and then I aimed the picture back a tiny bit, center Ichirin. Now, for this next photo, I'm going to charge. Why? Two reasons. Charging close to Ichirin makes it more precise, because I don't have to deal with the lasers on this third photo, so I can choose to be more precise. I don't have to be afraid of moving around all these lasers. And being more precise is important, because on this photo I'm very close. If you look on the left side here, I'm very close to a lot of these yellow bullets. They're about to kill me, so I don't want them to kill me. I want to take the picture right before they do. So positioning really close to almost killed by these yellow bullets and to still get a nice shot, ends up, the charge button is important. There is another reason still. On this third picture, you're very close to Ichirin. Now, when you're very close to Ichirin, obviously you want to try to bring your crosshairs closer to yourself too, to minimize the amount of aiming you have to do to send to Ichirin. You can also try unfocusing before pictures if you want to. It depends on the scene. Here's a different scene. I want to show you something about this scene. So on this scene, you're gonna wanna go really close to Murasa when you take the picture. So unfocus. Unfocus is a good idea. If you focus, the frame will be too low on the screen, too far below Murasa, and she won't be centered. You can also try charging. This is the kind of thing, once you spend enough time doing these things, you kind of learn to go on a reaction a bit more with the different move speeds and kind of how to control the camera and the crosshairs. And then there's much more difficult things to think about. Like, this is more of a Hatate thing, but define going to dash. Okay. That's not too good, right? Okay, how does that look? That looks terrible, right? Because I was focusing and then switching to unfocused and then dashing. That's you can see how how high Murasa is in the picture in the bottom left. Way too high. Now let's try unfocused dashing. Now she's too high. Too low. Because the unfocusing brings the crosshairs so close to you. Okay. I want her to be one step higher. Now that one is much closer to good, because I was charging. Oftentimes you'll find that charging, this kind of in between unfocusing. Unfocusing brings the crosshairs closest to you, focusing brings the crosshairs furthest from you. Oftentimes you'll find that the in between, charging, is the way to go, especially with Hatate. Alright, now let's take a replay where we show some aiming. Let's take this replay. Speed up. Now in this category, with Aya, you actually want to do a vertical shot instead of a horizontal one, because that's the only way this picture is going to work out. The scene is just kind of like that. So what do we do here? Move up, really close to these lasers, and focus. Right? Gotta be focusing here. And now we aim. Aim up, keep aiming up, and this is hard. You want to let go right before the picture goes too high. If it goes too high, that means that you're cutting off parts of Aya. If you cut off Aya's leg, it sounds kind of morbid. Cut off Aya's leg from the picture. What happens? You don't get a two-shot bonus. So you gotta aim up just the right amount. Because the higher you aim, the better for this photo, because you can see the boss shot multiplier is only at 1.89. That's because Iku isn't quite in the middle, because he didn't quite aim high enough. But if I aim up much higher, I cut off Aya. So let's watch this photo in real time and see that when I'm pause buffering like that, it might look like I'm aiming much longer than I really am. Look at this. It's a very brief aim. If you only spend, like 2 or 3 more frames aiming, you might go too far. So that's tricky. Alright, so what did we learn here? We learned about all the different positions of the lens, we learn about how focusing and charging is different from unfocusing in how it positions the lens in relation to the boss. Can't stress this enough. Let's pick a different scene. Let's pick this one, 6-3. In this scene, we have to spin around. So what happens if you spin around? Spin around unfocused even. I don't remember exactly how to play this scene, so I want to get to the spinning part. So first we take this picture. Oops. This is going to be a bad picture, but whatever. Just to kind of make the point. Now we gotta start spinning. What happens if you spin and you just take the picture like that? Oh, anyone can tell that's a terrible picture. This is awful. Worst angle bonus, you're angling it completely crazy. It's because the crosshairs, they move with you when you're moving around, when you're unfocused. So, what do you have to do? You have to press focus. Stop spinning and press focus before the picture. Now, this is kind of a weird way to control. You have to press focus and then take the picture right after. Kind of something that you've got to make your fingers used to. So I did that there too. Now, that gets you a good angle bonus. It just centers. It won't center the picture unless you're positioned correctly too. But so you can actually combine this unfocused movement, moving around, and stop and press focus to to stop and take the picture. All it takes is one tap. I forget how to play this scene, but whatever. I just wanted to show us a scene where you spin around, so you get the point. Because you're gonna want to be doing like moving around on focus sometimes. Now, if you're moving around focused, and everything's different. This thing will plant itself on the boss if you're close enough. Except if you're too close, it will move ahead of the boss. But it will plant itself on the boss. So pay attention to the crosshairs right now. Planter. Now I'm moving away, and then it moves away from her with me. Once I'm moving far away enough. Keep looking at the crosshairs. And you can see that things aren't like instant. You can see that the crosshairs, they kind of wobble a bit. They don't do everything instantly. So the fact that the crosshairs, they don't act instantly with what you want to try to do, that is going to give you some problems sometimes. You won't always know exactly where the crosshairs are going to be. There is no easy way to do all this, especially if you're playing a really hard like reaction scene and you're kind of trying to, on reaction, decide like how am I gonna press my move speeds, how am I gonna use my focus button, how am I gonna use my charge button, how am I gonna aim forward, backward, leftward, rightward, all of those things. You're not always going to have full control of where the crosshair is going to be or how you're going to angle the picture. That's something that's very important, is correctly angling your picture, and that means you have to move Aya the correct place in relation to where the boss is, and all these other things. But I think I explained kind of important how unfocusing, charging, and focusing affects where the crosshairs are, because that is something that a lot of people don't know. And now we do Hatate. Hatate, it is the same with the crosshair thing when it comes to where it is, depending on what you do. Except when you're unfocusing, these crosshairs are a lot more responsive. You can see when I move around like this with Aya, the crosshair would like move around in a circle. When I do it with Hatate, it keeps tracking the boss. So that unfocused thing I was talking about that you want to try to avoid with Aya, you can do it with Hatate. Look, Hatate, she gets a higher angle bonus than Aya. Her max angle bonus is 1.70 rather than Aya's max 1.30. If I had done what I just did with Aya, see, I only dropped a tiny bit of angle bonus. If I had, and that was not because of the crosshairs, that's actually because I was moving too close to the side. Hard to explain. Now, if I try doing the same thing with Aya, I'm gonna see what happens. Wow. Anyone can tell that's a horrible picture, right? So that makes Hatate quite different. The whole unfocused thing. With Hatate, you can count on your unfocused movement working without doing weird things like pressing shift, pressing charge. However, pressing charge, yeah, if you look at the dimensions of Hatate's picture, it's thinner. Wow, it's thinner. That means you have to be closer to get a two-shot. Okay, now let's kill ourselves and look at this picture. Okay, this was an unfocused shot with Hatate. You can see there's still quite a bit of space between Hatate and the bottom of the picture. That's space we don't want to go like unused. So rather than unfocusing, you can charge. Okay, kill ourselves and look again. Look at the space now. Charging brings the crosshairs higher, closer to the boss than unfocusing does. We've established that. So with Hatate, it is good to use this because charging with Hatate is almost perfect in how it places the charge in the crosshairs in relation to Hatate herself. We didn't cut off anything from Hatate. We kept the two-shot bonus. Now, what happens if we focus? No two-shot. Focusing with Hatate is dangerous. If you choose to focus, you can use this little trick. Move up while focusing. If you move up while focusing, and you don't break your focus, then the crosshairs will actually stall when it gets close enough to the boss, and it will just stay there, and when you get close enough then, you will actually get the two-shot bonus. Kind of the same way if you were just staying still and charging. But if you chose to do something like this, focus and then dash up. Now, kill ourselves and look. Focus and dash up doesn't work. The unfocused dash will just mess with the crosshairs and you will break the two-shot. So if you want to focus to take the two-shot, you have to not break your focus. I know it's really weird. This is something you have to get used to. You have to not break the focus and you have to keep moving. So the best way, if you want to dash, is to start by charging. Okay, now we're going to take a dash picture. This is something you have to do in some scenes. Dashing, unfocused charge. Now, it's not perfect. That's because Rico is actually moving. I'm gonna do it on a different scene to kind of show you. Let's do it on this one. You might die a few times. On this one, you've got to dash up. Okay, so I messed up the picture, but let's have a look. So, I was charging and then I was unfocused dashing. Now, because the dash lasted so long, the charge part of the dash isn't really relevant anymore, because from the part I went from charging to the part I spent on focusing, the part I spent on focusing was so long that this is pretty much just an unfocused shot. But if you charge dash and you don't unfocus for a very long amount of time, this seems kind of hard, so I might not get this right away. If you start by charging and only do a smaller dash, it'll be like a charge photo. Bit less space this time. Okay, let's actually try a different scene. This one should be more. Okay. There's still a bit of extra space. It's tricky. Okay. Yeah, there's still a bit of extra space. It's hard to get rid of that extra space, but there's just no easy way to do this. You can try aiming slightly, but there's a high risk you will break the two-shot bonus. Either way, don't focus. What happens if you focus? Okay, that one doesn't count. What happens if you focus? No two shot. But if I had been just as far away from Nitori and I was charge dashing, we get a two shot. See the difference? You have to, on these scenes where you kind of have to unfocus dash, you have to start by charging or unfocusing. Either one is okay. If you're focusing, then only a small tap of the focus button will work. And that's something you can do in this scene, for example, EX5. On this scene, I would tap focus, okay, what did I do there? I tapped, so if you look at the space between Hatate and the upper border of the picture, you can see there's a tiny bit of space there that we can use. And there would have been a bit more space if I was just unfocused taking the picture. But what I did is I placed myself in relation to Marisa, and then at a certain point in time I tapped the focus button. Not very long, but not too short. There's just the right amount of tapping you can do. If you tap the focus button just the right amount, you can center Marisa even more here. The focus button will bring the crosshairs closer to Marisa, and if you tap it and then dash, you can get a better picture than if you just unfocus and dash without ever tapping the focus button. Or if you're charging to dash. Tapping on focus is better. And sometimes you might want to learn to try to do that, but you know, it's kind of hard. So now I talked about some of the more complex things about Hatate. Let's talk about some of the simpler things too, that you will notice pretty easily just by playing her. Hatate, she charges up really fast compared to Aya. She starts with a lot of charge. She can kind of speed kill, and you know, she doesn't need to charge as much. Take a defensive shot. You start. I started with 71%, 74%, 72%. See, you start. Now, if you want to aim to take this picture with Aya, even from over here, that would be no problem. But with Hatate, see that? Hatate aims the picture really, really slow. She can't aim the picture very far. Now, that is both a good and a bad thing. If you want to play a scene with precise aiming, like this one I just showed you before, 10-2, this scene. Oh yeah, let's take the replay instead, because I know I had a replay. Here. On this scene with Aya, this is actually Aya, I just showed how to put this above. In this scene with Aya, you have to do some kind of precise aiming. Wow. It might not look too bad, but it's hard to get aimed just the right amount. Because Aya aims so fast, it's harder to control her aim. That makes Hatate's aiming easier. But it is a double-edged sword. It is easier and harder for different reasons. It's harder because you can't aim as fast, you can't control as much. I mean, it is out of your control how much you can really aim. So, let's wait here for the picture. See how much I needed to aim. Wow. With Aya, you only need to aim for a brief instant. With Hatate, you almost have to aim far enough for the picture to just, you know, disappear. You can see that the picture shrinks with Hatate too. Let's look. Next picture. Wait. When you aim the picture with Hatate, look, it starts at 100%, 100, 100, 95, 90, 83. Wow. So it's about to disappear, we let go. But when you do this with Hatate, the amount the picture actually shrinks, although it shows 20%, that's just like, you know, you shouldn't think of it as 20% the size of the picture, because clearly it is not. It is just, that's, you could think of it more of as that's how close it is to disappearing. It's 20% left before it disappears. Think of it more like that, because with Hatate, as you can see, when you're aiming the picture, it hardly shrinks at all. So that is a nice thing about Hatate. If you start aiming too early on a scene, you have to aim a longer period of time before you get the right timing. Hardly shrinks at all. And that can be really nice, because if you do the same thing with Aya, you accidentally start aiming a little bit too early, so you kind of try to aim a longer time to make up for it, to get the right timing, because it's when you let go of shot, that's like the most important thing. But with Aya, you can't do that. Like, if you keep aiming, photo will shrink so much, it's horrible. But you kind of can with Hatate, which can be really nice. So what makes Hatate different? With Hatate, the charge, you start by charging, then you let go of charge, and you tap shot again to take the picture. Works out perfectly with Hatate. To be more precise, it works out almost perfectly. This is something you can do on some ultra precise scenes to try to get a tiny bit of extra. Now, what did I do there? You're hardly even going to notice it, but I'm gonna kill myself and show you the picture to kind of get an idea. This is still a two-shot. We cut off Hatate's right foot, but it still counts as a two-shot. How much a shot counts as a two-shot, it kind of going to depend on which angle you take it from. If you take it from a specific angle, you can really see the whole Hatate's right and still not count the two-shot. That's like if you take it from like upright, for example. So what I did here different compared to just charging and then let go of charge to take the picture really fast, is that I was charging and then I let go and then I start aiming and then I aim up for just an instant, because if I aim up anymore, I will actually lose the two-shot. This is a really precise way to optimize your picture on some scenes. Obviously, if you're too close to the boss, you don't have to do this. Then it would be better to unfocus and aim the picture back towards yourself. But if you can't get that close enough, you have to charge, let go of charge, and then immediately start, because the sooner you start to aim the picture compared to when you let go of charge, the less the crosshairs will go back towards you to kind of counteract what you're even trying to do in the first place. So you charge, aim forward for an instant, and you end up with a picture like this, which is just barely still a two-shot. That is a way you can try to optimize centering the boss. If you can't get quite close enough to the boss, you can try to do it, for example, on this scene 10-1. You see, on this scene, when you try to take an optimized picture, you can't quite get close enough to Tenchi to get an optimized picture if you're just charging to take the picture. So you do have to charge, let go, immediately start charging after you let go. Immediately start aiming after you let go, aim forward for an instant, and still get Tenchi. And it's very easy, if you try to optimize this, to lose the two-shot multiplier. That Hatate doesn't count as being in the picture, even though pretty much all of her is still visible, it will count. This is another thing that's different from Shoot the Bullet. Like in Shoot the Bullet, the two-shot bonus is a lot more lenient. So that's kind of an overkill strategy that you can use to gain some extra points in some scene. But usually you should just kind of stick with charging or focusing. If you're really close, let's try to do that thing I did with Aya before. I go into the safe spot. Okay, go into the safe spot. Okay, now I'm in the safe spot. So with Aya, we wanted to unfocus and aim for just an instant, get Minariko in the middle of the picture. But with Hatate, look at where the crosshairs is. Now think about how long Hatate needs to aim the picture, because her picture moves so slowly when she's aiming. We have to aim the picture much longer. So to time it with this nice shot, we have to start aiming sooner. Now that was slightly too early, but still, kind of gives you an idea. If I had done that aiming with Aya, what would happen? We would have aimed far above Minariko if we aimed for that long. But with Hatate, you want to aim this long. Really long aim. And same with like scenes like this one, where I showed before. You want to be really close to Murasa when you take the picture here. On a lot of scenes you want to be. Then it is best to unfocus before taking the picture, because that brings the crosshairs closest to you. Now, I didn't quite get close enough because the bullets were so troublesome. Okay. Okay, so what happens when I unfocus that? Just as in the Minariko scene I was displaying, you can see I'm really close to Murasa here, and the picture is slightly too low on the screen. Same thing would happen on the Minariko scene I was playing. The picture would be too low on the screen. Murasa is too high in this picture. You want Murasa to be in the middle. Oops. So I aim up. Okay, this time Murasa is a bit closer to where we want her to be, but this time I aimed up just slightly too much. So you that's just kind of something you have to get used to. This picture, she's right in the middle, pretty much. This is better. And also things like with Hatate, things like charging, like on this scene I was playing the 4.5, really nice at first. So the first time when I take the picture is right about now. Okay, now we want to wait, and we want to wait one more, and then we take the picture. Okay, so now we want to do that again. Wait. One more, and take the picture. Alright, so if we do that with Aya, we don't have to charge with Hatate. If we do that with Aya, I don't think you have to charge on the. I can't remember if you have to charge on the second picture. Let's try not charging. You're gonna go up in time. No, almost, but no. So you do have to charge some amount to get this picture in time. Same with the next one, and at the end, there's going to be depending on if you skip a picture in the scene, and then you can replace it with a different time later on. There might be a series, like even 3 pictures you have to take, where you have to charge the picture kind of fast with Aya, and then these random lasers, they could force you to break your charge so that you can't take a picture because you can't charge the camera enough. Things like that can happen. Then you gotta be really, on point with understanding how to try to save it by kind of finding a place where you can charge your camera. So just something like charging your camera can be a problem. Let's, here's a scene where you want to be really close to Fuishi. So what happens if you're really close to Fuishi? You have to unfocus and aim up. Same here. Unfocus, aim up. And you can aim a bit longer with Hatate. Then there's going to be a lot of photos where you have to do much more complex things. I might talk about this scene in detail sometime to kind of explain, because once I've explained to you all these quirks about controlling, it is going to be easier to put these strategies into action to understand, like, oh, that's why you can take the picture like this in the scene. I'm just gonna think about it. There's something I missed. Well, you can do the same thing on Hatate, where you change the alignment. Hatate, it actually starts with a vertical alignment, which is no good. Every time you start playing Hatate, you have to press X to change it back to horizontal, because, as I talked about before, vertical alignment is shit, gives you shit score, and this is especially true with Hatate. Oh yeah, I didn't mention that. Going to show you what I mean. Okay, so here, take a picture with vertical alignment. Kill ourselves to look at the picture. Okay, what's the angle bonus here? 1.0, same as if Aya does the same thing. Okay, so that might seem like, okay, so it's the same penalty as if you were using Aya. You go from 1.3 angle bonus to 1.0. No, Hatate's angle bonus, when she's horizontal, is higher than Aya's. 1.7 instead of 1.3. Going from 1.7 to 1.0 is an enormous multiply loss. Anyone can do the math to figure that out, compared to going from 1.3 to 1.0. So doing these vertical alignment shots with Aya loses you much less score than doing them with Hatate. So with Hatate, let's take a scene like this one, 4-6. No, wrong scene, 4-2. Look at this. She's going to do this nice shot. When is this? Now is the nice shot. Okay, how am I supposed to go close, get the 2-shot, and get the nice shot? That's just insane. How would you do that? You can't get everything. Okay, well, you can, just barely, but it is almost fucking impossible. So instead, we can do this. Almost. Alright, 55,000 points for that photo, which did not get Hatate in the picture, which does not get a great boss shot multiplier. That's another thing, the boss shot multiplier with Hatate, the lowest it can be, I believe it is 1.50, if you barely get the boss, but if you do it with Aya, you can get less, 1.34, like, it's because of the dimensions of the pictures is different. But yeah, the point I was going to make is that let's take this vertical shot. Let's take a vertical shot, then I can get the 2-shot too. It's only 30,000. See, I didn't even get the nice shot that time, but it was still better. And that was a really bad timing, but it was still better. 59,000, not too shabby. So this is kind of a worse strat than the optimal strat, but it kind of works. Doing it vertically, kind of bad. Now, it's the angle bonus that is the main culprit here, because the angle bonus goes down so much. But there is actually one more thing worth keeping in mind. I said that the lowest boss shot, I didn't get the boss shot there. I said the lowest boss shot you can get with a horizontally aligned picture with Hatate is 1.5. I think it is 1.50. Try to almost 1.53. Yeah, 1.50. Now the lowest, if you take a vertical shot, which you almost never do, so I'm pretty sure it's 1.20. Gonna try to just barely get a horrible picture here. Man, it looks like she should be counted, but there we go, 1.20. So it's kind of hard to get. It's because of these dimensions of the picture. Think of it like this. Look at the crosshairs. Look at the crosshairs. It's high right now, right? So I have to aim up so much, but it's hard to get Momiji in the middle of the picture, because with a vertical shot with Hatate, the photo is so long. It's long, like phallic long, right? It's hard to get Momiji in the middle. If you're doing a horizontal shot, she will go to the middle of the picture sooner. compared to if she's in it at all. See, we can almost get her in the middle. It's much harder to do with a vertical shot. So on this scene with Hatate, don't even think about using a vertical shot, even if it's the easy way out. You're gonna lose so much score. You should pretty much never do that with Hatate. But with Aya, it's kind of a backup strat, or even sometimes it can even be the best strat. Now, these photos aren't going to be very good either with a vertical shot, but you're not going to lose as much compared to if you're doing it with Hatate. So I'm actually missing a nice shot there. Yeah. A horizontal shot is obviously the best. And the reason this shot still scores quite high compared to when I was doing it with Hatate, I couldn't get the 2-shot. With Aya here, I didn't get the 2-shot. Never mind. I just aimed up way too much, I guess. Yeah, so it's because I aimed up way too much that it was worth so much. I think that's about everything. X button changes the alignment of your picture. It can be a nice backup strat that you may want to try to use to have a different aligned picture, but pretty much never touch this button with Hatate. It is just better to just YOLO and be a tryhard than to play it safe. Like with Aya, like maybe on this scene, for example. This scene is so hard sometimes. Suikia could move away from you at the end when you want to take a picture, and then if you react fast enough to her that she moves away from you, I think it might be better to change to a vertical aligned shot. Or at least, it's maybe not much worse. It's a backup strat that works. And this scene, the end, 7-1. I'm gonna see if I have my 7-1 replay. Yeah. Do I? I have it with Hatate, not with Aya. Alright, I'm gonna download it real fast. That'll be the last thing we watch, because I want to kind of talk about this shot alignment and how changing your shot alignment might not be such a terrible thing every time. Usually, yeah, absolutely go with the horizontal shot, but if you're not aiming for absolute optimized score, you can change to a vertical shot in a lot of scenes, and in some scenes you can actually take a different style of picture altogether with a vertical shot, like on 7-1. Alright, so I know a lot of the control talk I was going through before is very convoluted, and I did my best to try to explain. Here's this replay. So we're gonna speed through the first 5 photos, and then I'm gonna show, because I remember that I did 2 different styles in the last 2 pictures that I memorized. Alright, so this is the last phase. This phase is mean. Okay, so there's the most optimized style is a horizontal picture that skips the nice shot. So what is the horizontal picture gonna do? Show needs to be low on the screen so that you can, look here, move close to her right now, tap focus to realign the camera and aim down. Very difficult picture to take in my opinion. Didn't quite optimize it, but you can see it. It's there's not that much room not super much room to improve it, but it is 183,000 this kind of picture. We lose the nice shot with this style of picture. You get the 2-shot, you get boss, pretty good boss shot. You can get a better one, and we get the good angle bonus from using a horizontal realigned picture. But we take this picture at a timing before she does the nice shot, Because if you want to take the nice shot, then you gotta change to a vertical shot. So now what happens? I can't take another picture like that, because show is too high on the screen. She has to be low on the screen for that picture to be possible to take. She's not gonna move low on the screen. So we have to keep waiting. And she was kind of low for a while, but now she's starting to move back up high. And look at the timer, there's only 10 seconds left. I can't keep waiting. So at this point, I decided to change my camera alignment to vertical to switch the picture style. Because there's a different style of picture you can take. Look now, look. Okay, what happened to this picture? Why is this picture worth almost as much as the last one? Even though I lost so much changing the alignment of the picture, you would think you would lose much more. The reason is this picture style, it gets less bullets, but it gets more nice shot. It gets more multiplier at best. You see, nice shot gives you a 1.5 multiplier to your score. The previous picture that scored higher, it didn't get no nice shot at all, because with that style you can't get it. So it can be a bit weird in this game sometimes. Like, you have to do the math, kind of compare different ways. Sometimes you have to sacrifice something to gain something. So on this, I sacrificed my some boss shot, some base value, and all of the angle bonus to gain all the nice shot bonus. So changing the alignments, as a general rule, always use horizontal, but you know, this game is flexible. Sometimes you might want to use vertical. Alright, so I think most important in this video is to listen closely when I was talking about how the crosshairs and camera behaves compared to what we do with Hatate and Aya. Those things are very important. This thing about the camera alignment, just use horizontal for the most part, and then later on you learn that sometimes you can learn by yourself kind of how do I use the vertical shot, how much can I lose by doing that, how much can I gain by doing that. Watch replays, watch what other people do, and yeah, I think that's enough. Pretty lengthy video, but yeah. Thanks for watching.